Well, let's get rolling. Well, what's up, everybody? We got a little infield today. Let's go. I'm way better than catching and pitching, at least on my end. But yesterday, I hope you guys got I hope, one, you realize how special of an opportunity that was to learn from somebody who's currently playing in professional baseball and being able to give you guys some insights into what it is that they're doing and some of the drills. Remember that this one that just blew my mind, right? The bottle drill, just boom, playing through it. Boom, turn the clock.
Simple, easy.
Simple and easy, just something that you can do even if you're playing first base on a pick. Like, you can even think about it as picks too and get creative with that as well. You don't need a ball, you don't need a glove, you don't need a bat to be able to get a little better with that. So I think that thing's huge as well. So Ronnie, thanks for bringing him on. Nick, thanks for bringing him on as well. And I'm being able to expose these athletes to somebody like that who's really got a lot of good stuff. So if you guys need it again, remember, you can always go back to the Dugout Coalition YouTube, just Dugout Coalition. You can always go on there and look at it. If you miss something, if you want to check in on something, or just kind of learn a little more about what it is. Before we get in, I want to show you guys something here real quick as far as a shirt that we're coming out with. And when is this going to be available, Adam? You think tomorrow?
Yes, I'm going to get a link set up for this shirt if you guys are interested in it. It's our first Dugout Coalition shirt. It's got our logo on the front and says join the coalition on the back with our Instagram handle. You guys have done a great job of spreading the word, and we wanted to offer you guys a cheap version, a cheap option to wear the logo and spread the word even more. So putting together a link to where you guys can order this shirt online. It's only going to be $20. You'll be able to select your size. They'll make the shirts, they'll ship them to us, and then we'll get them to you. But we'll have a link for that here hopefully tomorrow, and then you guys will have tomorrow and then all next week to place your order for that shirt. So anybody interested in it, share it. We'll post it out on social media along with the link, and you guys can rep the logo.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you guys are interested, let us know. We'll have that link in here. And we appreciate you guys showing up and taking notes. I talked with Fern's dad today, just on the way home, and he was fired up. He's like, I never thought I'd see him taking notes. It almost turned like, so it's exciting to see that, and just see athletes taking notes, getting better, and improving in different aspects of their game. And as well, like, if you guys are interested in this, we just came out with our blueprint for success. So remember the first week that we went through all this, kind of going through the mental training side, the mindset training, that's available as well for you. So if you'd like that, I can send you guys the links. We have limited copies, so there's only a few left. But if you're interested, feel free to get on there, pop in, get it. It's something that can help your life, not only just baseball and your sport, softball, but your overall life. But let's get into the infield. I love the infield. I'm pumped for infield. I don't care for outfield, the catching and pitching. Take your thing, throw strikes, catch the baseball, right, Jake? But infield, we're on. Let's go.
Simple.
I'm fired up for this. So I'll let Jake kind of kick it off. But just as far as I'm concerned, I just want to kind of hit you with a few of my pillars as far as what I'm teaching some of the athletes I get to work with and some of the teams we're playing with is a few of the fundamentals, and that's staying low in our legs and using our eyes. You think about hitting, you use your eyes to catch the baseball. Same with fielding. You use your eyes to catch the baseball, whether it's at first base, taking your eyes to the ball, whether it's on a ground ball, taking your eyes to the back of the glove. Using your eyes in everything that we do is huge. It's huge, and it goes unnoticed because if our eyes are out of the way, the ball is going to take a bad hop, or we're going to perceive it as a bad hop, and we're not going to make the play. So, one, using our eyes. 2, staying low to the ground, and 3, be athletic. Ronnie said it a million times. Be athletic, be an athlete, be an athlete. It's awesome. Like, that's the best way that we can attack baseballs. I know, Jake, you'll get into a lot of this good stuff too, and we've got similar mindsets on infield and some different things that we can get into, but being aggressive too. Like, you control the tempo, always expecting the baseball in the field, no matter what situation, first at bat of the game or last at bat of the game, expect the baseball to be hit to you. Because the one time you don't expect it, it's going to be a rocket right at you. It's going to short hop you, hit you in the shin, and it's game over. So making sure that we're expecting the baseball, always on our toes, always ready for the ball, is big time. And then the third thing I like to talk about is the pre-pitch, and we'll get into all this stuff today. Pre-pitch, like setting ourselves up, and you guys call it the prep step, I believe, Jake, but like setting yourself up for success before it happens. Timing that ball as it crosses the zone. We're making sure that we are early and not late. And if I wish I had the video, and I'm going to go search for this video as well once you get into it, Jake. But there's a video of just Nolan Arenado and Matt Chapman taking ground balls. And it's of them getting the ball in the zone, like off a live BP. And they're taking their prep step or their pre-step, getting their pre-step set up as the ball is crossing the dish. And why is that important? Because we're on our toes early rather than late. If we're late, and a lot of times our minds will perceive it as late, then we're going to have a lack of that first step. But you see some of the best athletes in the game, especially the best infielders, they have a really, really good first step to the baseball. I'm not going to break down these crazy angles for you. I'm not going to flood your mind, but making sure that we're on time or early with our prep step is very, very crucial to getting ourselves in a good position to field the baseball more consistently. So, Jake, I'm going to let you get into it. I'm going to look that video up because I really like it. And then let me know if you need anything.
Cool. So from the infield side, guys, there's a couple different things, and it all starts with what we call the prep step or your pre-pitch movement. When we talk about that, I always start there because it's very undertaught, and it's an extremely important part of you being an efficient fielder. Okay, so when we look at infield, okay, the biggest difference between the corners and the middles, as far as your responsibility, is middles need more lateral range. So you're moving side to side more, whereas corners, it's more vertical range. So what that does is when we work our prep step, what we want on a prep step is it doesn't matter which foot you step with first. We're not worried about that. The key is we want both your feet landing on the ground at the same time, not one and then the other, because when you land both together on the balls of your feet, you now have the ability to move either direction quickly. Whereas if you step right, left, based on the weight distribution of your feet, you're going to be slower one direction or the other. So we've moved to more of a prep step movement. Dustin Pedroia has a really exaggerated one. He's like gets high off the ground and drops. Francisco Lindor's is really small. So he's just kind of chilling. There's no movement until his little feet just up and down. All right. So the goal is, and there's some drills that you can do to do this, but the goal is we want to land our feet at the same time that the ball is in the hitting zone. Okay, so if we land our feet as the pitcher's releasing, we don't have any momentum into our movements. If we land it after the ball's already been hit, then obviously our first step's going to be late because the ball's already in play. So the goal is to time it at a point where your feet are touching the ground as ball is being hit or as it's entering that contact point of the zone. All right, so when we do that, one of the big things we teach for infield is what we call dinosaur arms or short levers, right? So when we talk those, anytime you extend, so when you're running, anytime that we extend our elbow out, we're putting ourselves in a position to lose balance and lose control of our body, and we're not in a great spot to field or make a throw off of that. So any of the movements we have, we want our elbows tucked. I'm going to back up here. We want our elbows tucked. So when we land, they don't have to be straight out, but we want guns and holsters. So when we land, our hands are just relaxed straight at our sides rather than this movement. I see this all the time of gloves straight out and far. Okay, so the only time that we would ever want glove out and far would really be a corner infielder playing in to a point where you're there to respond and react quickly to a hard ball right at you. But even then, we prefer hands this way because you got to think, if my glove is this way and the ball's hit at my face, that's a full rotation movement to get it up. If my hand is here, it's half rotation up, half rotation down to field. Okay, the other thing with that we really try to touch on is anytime your hand's here, the first movement you make when you have to range laterally is to pull it back in before you run. So you're wasting time and limiting your range by having your hand out during your prep step rather than just hands at your side. So that's the big thing that we teach. I do want to give you one drill, and then I'll pass it off to Ronnie or Nick for some more stuff, and we can get into some actual fielding. But prep step is so vital. One of the big drills that we do, I got some poker chips here. I don't even play poker. This is great. We'll have a coach or a dad or a teammate, whoever, hold up a ball, and all they're going to do is drop it, and you are timing your landing to when that ball hits the ground. Okay, so that's just simulating ball reaching hitting zone. When you get really good at that, then take two, but hold them at different heights. So now we have fastball and breaking ball. Okay, so now you have to differentiate. They're not going to tell you which one they're dropping. And when they drop, you have to differentiate your prep step land based on the pitch that was thrown or the timing of that pitch. So super simple drills. Most people hate prep step drills because you don't get to field anything. It's not super fun. But when we look at fielding, there's four main things that happen. You have your prep step, right? And then the twitch, or your ability to react instinctively to move, right? So we prep step, we twitch, and then we have that burst, so that movement to the ball, and then the actual movement of fielding and throwing the ball. So if we don't do the first part well, it's it's going to be a lot more difficult to do the rest of that process well. So it all starts with the prep step. I can't stress enough how important it is to actually work that and work the timing of that for any infield position that you play, except catcher. Please don't prep step as a catcher. That'd be awkward.
My name is Joe.
All right. Guys, mute your mics, please, if you are not talking. But I'm going to pass it off to Ronnie or Nick here. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you teach, like pre-pitch wise, and then any fielding stuff from there would be awesome.
Nick, let's go ahead.
Yeah, so no, Jay kind of covered it. With the pre-pitch, you're going to do some form of prep step, and we're the same way. It doesn't matter what foot you start with, but when the ball, so the way we talk about it, when the ball's entering the hitting zone, that's exactly when you want to land your prep step. That's exactly when you want it to be done, because what happens after that is the ball's either going to be caught in the catcher's mitt or it's going to be hit, right? So you have to prep step to be able to move from there. So, when it comes to doing that, it's just making sure you're in rhythm with the pitcher, to make sure that you can go through whatever your process is. So when that ball does enter the hitting zone, you're going to be ready, because like Austin said, your first move is the most important move to attacking the baseball. So if you're not in an athletic position when that ball is hit, you're going to have a bad first step, which is going to limit your range. So for you guys who want to learn how to get more range in the infield, it's that first step, making sure that first step is not only explosive, but it's to the right spot, meaning to the right angle. So if the ball's hit hard, you're going back. If it hits soft, you're going forward, and then obviously left and right.
Yeah. Can I show this real quick, Nick? Sorry, my mic was muted before. I was trying to talk and it was totally muted. Let me go in here. It's let me share my screen. Hang on. I gotta go. 1 sec. Okay. So this is going to be a video of Carlos Correa in his ready position, like his infield, talking about this is Barry Larkin, one of the best freaking infielders ever, and Al Leiter, one of the greatest pitchers.
Why this guy's so consistent to me. And, it's funny playing against his buddy Lindor. Lindor had a tremendous play, but I love what Carlos does on the defensive side. You know what I like about him? He's fundamentally sound. And if you're going to go on a streak like this, you got to be. Look at the footwork. It's all about his feet.
There's no drawing on the screen, fellas.
And every day he's consistent, even on the double play. It's just basic fundamentals. But he can make the tough play, too. But look at this fundamentals. Set yourself up, know your runners, and throw it across the diamond. Every time is what this guy does. But how about the play in the hole? This is the one you talk about because it's the highlight reel. Look at how he gets there. First, he starts upright. Then he breaks to go get a ground.
Oh, good.
Please no drawing on the screen, guys. If we draw on the screen, we're going to get removed. And I just saw another one, so please,
I think
for the people that are trying to get in here. But let me take this out of the full screen if I can. Okay. So watch this.
Then he breaks to go.
What we're talking about with the prep step.
About because it's the highlight reel.
Boom. So you're in a good ready position here as an athlete, right? Like you're in a good athletic position. You see his knees are not slightly bent. He's ready to go. Chest is up in an athletic position. And as he goes, watch this little hop.
Look at how he gets there. First, he starts upright.
Boom. That little hop is what we're talking about with that prep step. Creating good momentum for you to be able to move. So as you get that good momentum, right, you get that little hop.
Look at how he gets there. First, he starts upright.
Boom.
Then he breaks to go get a ground ball.
And look how he can.
Kids wrong.
Now look how he gets off of the jump, like off of the blocks. Think about a sprinter when you push off of the blocks. Like, look at how he uses the ground to bounce, right? Bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Some of you guys maybe have done the ladder drills before and been able to go back and forth, train the feet to be a little more athletic. That is something that is really, really huge when it comes to fielding ground ball, because now he can increase his range side to side. So now he's made himself more valuable on the field. Now, all of us may not have that type of range, right? We're not all big leaguers who have that much range. But if we have a good prep step, we can create more space for us to field the ground ball side to side, giving us a better chance to make that play. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Well, Ron, before you go, I just want to add one thing. Is you notice that, as a middle infielder, like Correa is, he's more upright. Now, obviously, he's athletic, but he's very upright because, like Jake said, he's going to be moving left and right a lot. So he has to be able to, make sure he can open up his hips and turn. when you're playing the corner, and I can't speak for first base, but especially for third base, you're going to be a little bit lower in your legs. Not completely in a squatted position, but you're going to be lower down because you have to be more explosive, being able to jump in the air or dive left or right. You're not going to be taking 5, 6, 7 steps to the left or the right. It's going to be more of 1 or 2 on a jump, and that's it. So understand that if you're playing the middle, you're going to be a lot more upright. If you're playing one of the corners, you're going to be a lot lower in your legs because you're more up and down than side to side.
Yeah, I think that's so good. I think that's huge. The thing for me, you guys really hit on a lot of the good stuff with the athleticism pre-pitch and pre-swing. But I want everybody to understand, playing an infield position, you have to always anticipate that the baseball is going to come to you every single swing, no matter what, because I think that helps us mentally with our first step. The second thing is, for us, I talk to a lot of guys about reading hops. When I talk to a lot of the guys about reading hops, I always say, for myself at least, if the ball's bouncing, I want to catch it in 2 bounces or less. The reason for that is because the more hops that it takes, the more time it has the spin to pick up, and the chances of a bad hop happening are a lot greater. So for me, that puts me in attack mentality for me to actually go get the baseball. So I like to work around it a little bit. I like to set my feet and kind of get around the baseball a little bit for me to set my body up to be able to throw across the diamond to first base. But what that does, it helps my eyes kind of see the trajectory of that, of the spin of the ball, and if it's going to take a high hop or if it's going to stay down, so I can get myself ready. So I'm big on reading hops. And the last thing for me is arm slots and versatility within your arm slots. Guys, a lot of infielders, you guys watch TV and you see Nolan Arenado throwing from his shoe tops, and you see a lot of guys throwing sidearm. The clock drill, and I know Jake will talk about the clock drill that they do. We do kind of a very similar one. But the clock drill and being able to throw from different arm slots is so important to be able to play an infield position, because remember that we're making plays in around 4 seconds. So sometimes we don't have the time to get our arm up overhead to be able to get rid of it and throw as hard as we possibly can. We like to err on getting rid of the ball faster because no one's going to be able to outrun a baseball. So the faster we get into our hand and get rid of it, I think the easier it is. So when you guys are doing quick hands drills, when you're doing your throwing prep work, or you're going through all of your transfer stuff and your ground ball work, get it to a slot. So for us, we talk about wherever you catch the baseball is where you throw it from. So if you catch it low, you throw it low. If you catch it high, you throw it high, because it's easier transfer that way to get rid of it. But a lot of times we just want to make sure that we're able to throw from different slots all the time, because you get rid of the ball faster. So I think it's a big point for us, is versatility with arm slots huge.
I think that's a huge piece for all infielders to be able to do. And one thing to note, and there's a reason we call it clock drill, right? If this is your regular throwing slot, one thing that a lot of players do, and then they feel their arm hurting, is when you drop your slot, your whole body should move with it.
Yep.
So arm is not moving. It's your torso, your core is dropping to whatever slot that is. So it's the same arm slot. It's just a lower slot based on body movement. The moment that you start just dropping arm, and it'll happen every once in a while in a game, you'll have to, but when you throw like that a lot, that's when you start to have a sore arm and you start to have elbow pain, because your body's not in a position to make that throw. So the big key is make sure you're dropping body with the arm, and practice that. Practice it off of 2 feet. Practice it off of 1 foot, because there's going to be a lot of balls where you're moving in and attacking where you'll have to throw off of 1 foot in that process of doing it. So we do a drill. We just call it our QB1 drills. It's almost like an NFL combine where they have to scramble a little bit. We set cones out and they have to do different cone patterns, and then feel the ball and throw it on the run, right? So you guys having the ability to actually practice throwing on the run is important. We see a lot of times that players use catch play as just a way to warm up your arm. You got to get out of that mentality and into the mentality that that's your opportunity to really work arm slots, work receiving and transfers, right? Work actually deflecting the ball off of your hand rather than catching the ball and pulling it out of the glove. So you can get a lot of work in. And you got to think, most players on your team probably just catch the ball, talk to their neighbor, and throw. But if you throw or receive, call it 50 balls in your warm-up, that's 50 extra reps per day that you're getting on these things that other players are not. So you just have to work smarter. Sometimes it's not doing extra work. It's just doing the work that you've already been assigned properly that helps you develop. So that's a big thing from the arm slots. Based on where you field it, that will dictate and determine it. Ronnie had a great point about 2 hops or less, ideally. And some of that, you have to understand anything. We have our players put their hands up even with shoulders. Okay. And anything outside of my hands right now is what we consider a one-hand lane. So if I turn my hands, any ball that I field outside of this area, about here, okay, is what we call a one-hand lane. So that means when I go down to field it, I'm not trying to reach across my body with the other hand. I'm only fielding it with that one hand. Okay. And that's catching a ball or fielding a ball. I think a lot of times we're so ingrained as fielders at a young age from our coaches, it's two hands, two hands, two hands, two hands, two hands, which is important at a young age because you want to catch the ball. But as you get older and more skilled, you need to be comfortable attacking a ball with one hand, because sometimes it puts you in a better position to actually transfer to your throwing arm without putting your arm in a slot that you can't throw from. Okay, so what I mean by that is if I'm going up the middle and I feel the ball here outside of my body with two hands, I have to do a lot of work to get turned and get my arm in a slot that I can throw from, versus if I field it over here and do what we call the check the watch. So just this movement here, like you're checking something on your watch, that puts my arm in a slot right now to already make a throw. So the less movement on your throwing shoulder when you're fielding that you can have, the easier it's going to be to get the ball off quick once you transfer from glove to hand. And the more practice you do with that, obviously the easier it gets. But that's what we do a lot with clock drill. We do a ton of throwing on the run stuff and movement stuff. And I see Riley in here because we implemented this with softball last year. And some of the throws, the first couple times you do it, are going to be brutal. Like, make sure there's nobody around because you have no idea. Like, that ball is going to tail on you. It'll slice. You'll throw it straight up. We've seen some really awful throws. It's one of my favorite drills to watch somebody do for the first time. But the progress you see when you do it is huge. So the last thing with throwing on the run or a low slot, when you throw normal, we try to pronate thumb and finish low, right? When your slot drops below shoulder, the proper place to finish is with fingers coming up to your shoulder. Because if you're down low and you try to pronate over, you're not going to get anything on that throw or have it accurate. So that throwing motion is more up and over to actually allow that ball to carry and rise to be an easy ball to catch. So a couple things on that.
I like that a lot, Jake. And I like the idea of like just getting your body in a good position to make those good throws and not being afraid to fail in practice as well, trying those different arm slots, because it may be a little weird sometimes. It might be a little different, but guess what? You got to get used to throwing from different arm slots. Boom. And I like how you said, hey, let's take the body with the shoulder rather than just let the shoulder dip. Because as a first baseman, and some of you first basemen can attest to this, like when somebody throws from down here and it comes in like this, it's a lot tougher to catch it when it's at my shins. And I don't like it, Nick, so don't be throwing it in there like that. Please, come on. But a good way to train that is to put a ball in your hand when you're taking ground balls. We did it as corner infielders, but when we would go through all of our pregame infield drills with the D-backs and everything that we did, we put a ball in our hand on the knees, doing our one-hand drills, training the forehand, backhand, going to our feet, training both sides, moving our feet around. And then ground balls, I would always take it with the ball in my hand, especially on a corner position. You have less time. Unlike the middle infielders have a little more time to move. The corner guys, it's like, boom, the ball's hit and it's there. And usually it's a big donkey ripping one at you. So you got to be able to really train your glove to work below the baseball. And I think something that really helped was putting the ball in my hand, just being able to go. Don't worry about the throws. Don't worry about throwing it. But that's one thing that you can do when you're taking ground balls or you're working on some stuff at home, whether you're getting short hops and stuff like that. Just put a ball in your hand so it trains you from – prevents you from always trying to get that hand back in the glove.
Yep.
And really work on that one hand. And then two, you can always put this is my glove right here and this is my ball. I could put the ball in the glove and I could just work on taking that baseball out, grabbing the four seam. So no matter how old we are in here, we can always get used to grabbing the four seam on the baseball. So putting a ball in our glove and just boom, sit here. Boom, you can do it through this. And just boom, let me work on that. Let me get that good feel. Let me get that good feel. Do it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times. Boom, just to be able to get a good feel of gripping that four seam, because the worst thing you can do is grip the ball like a palm ball and try and shot put it to first base, and then it goes flying over the fence, and now the guy's got 2 extra bases. So thinking about just little things that we can do at home right now during this downtime, even in the game as well, or in the dugout during a game, just working on simple tools that are going to help you be really good. And when you think about it, you see Correa, you see Barry Larkin, you see Ozzie Smith, you see some of the best defenders ever in the game. Well, they all have done this stuff. That's where they learn. Willie Mays would put a ball in his glove, and he would just work on grabbing the baseball and finding four seams. And that's what he would do. And he's a Hall of Famer, and he's pretty good. So I think for us, we can still do that and still train the glove, the body, the mind, and that baseball, being able to get in a good position, work on that grip to make good throws. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
Nicholas, talk about the dirty mitt thing that you talk to a lot of the infielders about, and kind of your process through the ground up stuff.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's
I don't know if anyone mentioned it before. I think Austin did earlier. When you're fielding a ground ball, we always want to work down to up, right, from the ground up, because it's a lot easier to come up and react to a ball than it is to go down, right? If you ever see a ball go through someone's legs, it's because their glove was in the air, right? How's a ball going to go through your legs if your glove is down? So the way I talk about it is, if you're an infielder, right, and I have a brand new glove and I go and take 100 ground balls and the bottom of my glove isn't all beat up and dirty, I'm not getting my glove down to the ground enough, right? So it's very easy to check to see if your glove's on the ground, because the infield's made out of dirt, right? You're going to have some dirt on your glove from that. Okay, so it's very, very important to understand that if we're not playing from the ground up, one, it's going to be very, very hard to read hops, right? So those bad hops, it's going to be hard to react to them. Okay, and two, we're not going to be able, like I said, we're not going to be able to react as quick as we need to, and that's when balls go through our legs.
And to add to your point there too, I personally have never in my life gotten yelled at if the ball goes up over my head on a ground ball that hits a rock and goes up over me. But I have gotten yelled at a lot of times when the ball goes in between my legs. So guys, understand that when you are working from the ground up, if the ball hops over your head, that's an uncontrollable. It's the same thing when catching and you block and you go down to block and it hits a plate and goes over your head. There's absolutely nothing that you can do about that. It just is what it is. So we want to err on getting our glove down. Now, I will say this, the closer your eyes get to the baseball when you're going to field it, okay, the less of a chance you have to make a mistake and the less of a chance you have of getting hurt. I know a lot of the younger guys, I deal with this every single day. A lot of the young guys are very nervous and scared to field ground balls. Understand that the closer your eyes are to the baseball, the easier it is to see. You're going to know if it's taking a bad hop, and you're going to be able to react and adjust to that from the ground working up. For us, at least, we do a lot of preliminary work with our guys, no glove work. We do a lot of glove drills, from the knees on the feet, just traditional footwork stuff. I think during that time, the very low stress environment time is when you guys really learn the proper movements for you guys. Another thing that I want to hear Jake's take on this is a question I got for you guys. What do you guys talk to your youth guys all the way up through on how many steps they take after they field? When you talk to them about fielding and shuffling and things like that, I know at certain ages you're going to allow them to take that extra shuffle. But for us, at least, when we work with our high school guys, field, shuffle, throw, get rid of the baseball. If you got to throw on the run, throw on the run. We want to err on being athletic. So if you're running after a baseball, keep running because you're more athletic that way. But for you guys, what do you talk to them about? Is it field, shuffle? Is it field, shuffle, throw? Like, how do you guys go through that?
So we talk a lot about an internal clock, and you mentioned the 4-second timer before, and it's less than that in softball. And working with both, you kind of develop that and talk them through that. But for us, granted, we have a lot of high school guys that are going through the recruiting process and showcases and all of that. So we teach both a 4-step and a 2-step progression. And then on the run, we teach a 1 and a 3 based on height that they field the ball. So what we mean by that, players, is when we talk a 2-step or 4-step progression, when you field the ball, a 2-step progression would be field, shuffle, throw. A 4-step would be field, shuffle, throw. So the biggest time that we want to use a 4-step progression that we teach is if you field something flat-footed. Typically we field it flat-footed because it was a rocket right at us and we had to react. So maybe we had to drop step on a mid-hop and create space and get behind the ball. Well, we're not going to have a lot on that throw if we just take one shuffle and throw. But the ball also got to us really quickly, which means the hitter's not out of the box that far. So on a ball like that, we have time after we field to get our bearings straight, take 2 shuffles, and make a really good throw with velo on it. Whereas if I have to move laterally and I feel the ball going up the middle, I probably, based on the distance I had to cover to get there and the batter getting out of the box, I probably am past 4 seconds if I field and take 2 shuffles. So a lot of what we talk about is ball speed, ball direction, runner speed. Those are the 3 biggest factors for us when we break down step progression. If you're going to showcases, you want to do at least one with a 4-step progression that you just let it fly, because they're going to track your infield velo. And nowhere on that sheet does it say if that infield velo was an accurate throw. It just gives you the number of how hard you threw it. So if you 4-step and you throw it into the bleachers and it was 88, all that people are going to see is that you threw it 88 across the infield. So good job. But now we have to use the rest of our reps in that time to show that we can manipulate our steps, that we can go off of 2 steps or 1 step on the run, and do things the right way. So one great drill, if you guys have a dad or a coach or somebody that you can work with, is have somebody with a stopwatch. Okay, a stopwatch can be a coach's best friend, and actually track the time that it's taking you from contact to you getting the ball to first base. Because a lot of times if you're under 4, that's great, but you don't gain extra points for doing it in 2. So the big phrase we use a lot is be quick but don't hurry. We want you to be quick to the ball, but we want you to be relaxed through the fielding motion. And then based on runner speed, you might have to be quick to get it out, or you might have time to 4-step it and throw hard. But that's got to be, honestly, if you can't do both, doing a 2-step every time is your better option, because like Ronnie said, like, you get it out quicker and the ball beats him, and that's awesome. But there is a lot of benefit to a 4-step progression and the velo that you can get on the ball from doing that if you understand when to use it. Okay, so next pro game, when they're able to play, or if you're watching old school games, one thing to watch for is how many steps are they taking? Based on the ball that was hit, what's the progression that the infielder is using in order to get rid of that ball? And then the last thing that we teach on step progressions is we want to use those to cover ground, and we want to cover ground laterally towards our target, not vertically. So when we teach covering ground, a lot of times we get players that field the ball and then they jump to try to make that throw. It's not a crow hop, but the more space you can travel going forward on those steps, the more momentum and energy you have behind your throw, which means the harder that throw is going to be and the more accurate it is, because you'll naturally, on release, if you're moving, you'll follow that throw in the direction. Okay, if you ever watch Derek Jeter, whenever they throw the ball around after he made a play, he was almost standing next to the second baseman because he was so good at field, throw, and follow 3 to 5 steps in that direction that, like, they couldn't even throw the ball around properly because he wasn't at his regular position anymore. It's really good to see. So those are the big things we teach between 2 and 4. The difference between 1 and 3 for us when you're throwing on the run, a 3-step progression would be a low ball below our knees that when we field, we have to check our watch because that takes a little bit more time. A 1-step would be a ball between like knee and chest where we do what we call rock the cradle. So if you were holding the baby, as we field that ball, if we field it here, we're rocking it rather than this movement over the top. We're rocking it straight across. So once we rock, we're already in a natural throwing slot here. So we can do this movement in 1, but this movement typically takes 3. So it's just a difference on ball type. And the more that you can practice that, Ronnie posted a good video on the Dugout Coalition page a couple days ago of arm slots and fielding those. And if you watch based on where he was fielding it, he was naturally coming over the top just a little bit because it's a more natural movement based on ball height. So yeah, that's what we teach. What do you guys do, Ronnie and Nick, with like 2 to 4 step or 1 and 3? Like, how do you guys break that down for players to be able to understand?
Good.
So for us with the ball that's below the knees, we allow them to go through 3 different fielding types. So we do the bare hand, we do the glove play only, and then we do the 2-handed play. I think the 2-handed play is a little bit of a like swaggy type play. I think that it shows a bit of athleticism. I like that one personally a lot, not even because of the flashy side of it, but I felt a little bit more secure with that one. I always felt a little bit uncomfortable on my bare hand. So for me, if I was doing a glove play, I like that. But if I was going to my arm side, I like to do the 2-handed one, especially if I had the time. But sometimes we don't have time for that. So you have to go do or die bare hand play. I made the bare hand play do or die. So that was where, guy hits a tweener in between pitcher short and third. I've got to sprint through as fast as I can. He's a fast guy. I got to bare hand and throw. That play didn't happen very often, but for me, I would say that the above the knee one, the one that's kind of waist height, I like that play a lot. I like to practice those ones, especially in our quick hands drills that we do.
Yep.
I like that one a lot. But for me, I try as hard as I can to do the 2-step. But I do see a lot of people, they force the 2-step. And so they get themselves in a bad position. They're not squared up a lot of times to be able to throw. So depending on how much time you have is what I like to talk about. But when we do a drop step, so any type of drop stepping, if we go to our forehand drop step, I like a 4-step because they're going to have to shuffle their feet and then take an extra couple to get rid of it. But on a backhand drop step, I actually teach them to throw off their back foot. That's a big deal for us because I don't really think that you're going to have the time, especially in a 6-hole play. I mean, and Nichols will talk about second base a lot too, but even in a 4-hole play up the middle, you don't have time to actually shuffle from that position. So you actually got to get rid of it quick. I teach a lot of our guys 2 things. Number 1, I like to throw on the run a lot, especially when we're attacking, because if you can catch on the run and throw, you're already in the momentum of moving your body towards first base. As long as you have control of your body to get rid of the baseball from a number of arm slots, then I don't think we need to set our feet. I think a lot of kids err on setting their feet because they're forced to. But for us, we like to talk about throwing the run if you can, especially if you're attacking. That's definitely a big one for us. And I like to limit the amount of time that the ball's in the mitt. I played with a kid at school who was from Venezuela. He went to community college and came to our place. They literally teach them that the baseball in the mitt is the most useless thing in the world because you don't throw with your glove, you throw with your arm. So the faster you get the ball to the hand, the better. So they actually teach that by the time you field it, you want to get it into your hand before you actually funnel or you work through it. Yep. You want to get it into your hand as fast as you possibly can because let's say you bobble it, which is going to happen. If you are working to get it to your hand faster, now you have that extra time to take that extra shuffle to get rid of it. But if you're shuffle, and the ball's still in your mitt, you've got one shot to make that play. So for us, what we were taught and what he helped me a lot with, and I know Austin can probably talk about this with Dominican and Spanish guys that he played with, but those guys are very, very good at getting the ball to the hand quicker so that when they do make a mistake, they have that extra time to be able to get rid of the ball. So that's a lot of what we are talking about now. It used to be very traditional of field, shuffle, throw, but I saw a lot of guys becoming choppy in games from that. So we're trying to make them a little bit more versatile if we can.
Yep. And players, if you watch Dominican or Venezuelan infielders and just videos of them fielding, you'll see two things. One is exactly what Ronnie said. You'll see they almost take pride in after they field the ball being in their hand. They'll show it. They'll show it like right on their side because they're really proud of and are taught to take pride in how quickly they transfer that. And then the second thing is keep an eye on their left hip because they do a great job of twisting that left hip on target and getting their body moving in that direction extremely quick. And a lot of the young infielders that we work with, that's a skill that we have to teach of getting those hips turned and to target rather quick. So, and a lot of times that can make up for an average arm if you can do those things well because you're going to be quicker. So your time on that 4-second clock might be better than somebody who has a higher velo than you just because you're working through it better and quicker and getting your grip in a faster way. So those are some different things you guys can do to work on that for sure.
Yeah, and something I like to add too is what we got to understand, guys, is you might not always have the strongest arm, or you might not always be able to get your feet set the right way, but a ball in the air is always going to be faster than a runner, right? No matter who you are, no matter what age, if you're 7 years old or if you're 18, you can throw a ball faster than somebody can run, right? So if we get that ball in the air, it's going to travel faster than that guy can run to first base. And that's something we got to understand, right? So making that backhanded play where you're falling away from first base, the ball up in the air first, it's actually productive because you're learning how to do it, right? So what kind of Jake and Ron are talking about, if we can get that ball from our glove to our hand really, really quickly and then get it in the air really, really quickly, we don't have to throw it super, super hard to get the out. Right. It's not always about making sure we can take 2 or 3 good shuffles and firing it as hard as we can. Sometimes it's just about getting the ball in the air as quickly as possible to make sure we can get that out.
So, and
go ahead.
So 2 things on that. One, understand that accuracy makes a big difference. And what I mean by that is just because the first baseman could catch it doesn't mean it was accurate, right? If Austin is playing first base and he's got to go up here to catch the ball, that limits 5 to 6 feet that he's able to stretch out forward to get the ball. So that's 2 to 3 steps from somebody going down the line. So when we miss throws high, a lot of times runners beat those out versus when we're accurate to the chest, we can gain a lot of space with a good first baseman on the stretch there versus the other way of being up or down or lateral where they have to move side to side and can't get that space. And to touch on what Ronnie said about throwing on the run, one thing that in order to be a really, really good infielder, you have to allow yourself to start to believe is setting your feet is a luxury, but it's not a necessity. I think as soon as you believe that and you start to practice that way, you see a big difference in your confidence in throwing on the run because you don't need your feet. It's great when you have them, but we have to be able to manipulate our body otherwise and play through the ball at all times if possible.
Yeah, and I'm gonna use a personal experience with this. When I was recruited, my tool was my arm. That's what they said defensively. That was my best tool. They said, fielding wise, you need some work. Footwork wise, you need some work. Laterally, we need to work on some stuff. But we're recruiting you to play shortstop because you have a good arm. And so the first ground ball that I ever took in a college game, I fielded it deep at short. I took the 4-step shuffle. I threw it as hard as I could, and the guy was safe. And it's funny. It was a great learning experience for me. And it's awesome to talk to you guys about that, because learn from that mistake. The guy was it was safe. You know what I mean? It doesn't go in the book as an error, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a good play for me. And so I had to learn really quickly that your arm doesn't matter when you get to those levels. When you get to high school baseball, good travel in college, let's say pro baseball down the road, but your arm actually doesn't matter. Everybody's going to have a good enough arm that they're going to be able to make plays, but you can use your hand speed, you can use your transfer speed, your footwork, and getting rid of the baseball as a tool. I had to learn that, and I learned it the hard way. And so for a lot of you guys, error on the side of it. Same with catching. I know we didn't talk too much about transfers yesterday, but even with catching, error on getting rid of it in less than a second, rather than gearing up and taking all this time to throw it as hard as you possibly can. Like Nicholas said, the ball in the air is faster, so get rid of it as quick as you possibly can with a four-seam grip. But understand that how long that takes to get that down. So work on the four-seam grip first and getting that out of your mitt as much as you can. Even catchers, everybody, outfielders, get it out of your mitt, four-seam grip as quick as possible, and then get rid of the baseball as fast as you can. I think that's a huge point.
100%. No, this is really good stuff. And I really like the aspect of the hip to the target, like your left hip to the target. Because what happens is sometimes our hips will be offline. So if you think about it, my right hip will almost be pointing towards the target. And now that means my arm slot is going to be creating this two-seam run that's going to be going up the baseline towards the hitter, which is now taking my first baseman off the bag, which results in usually a bad throw. So just understanding that whatever cue it is for you, left shoulder, left hip, maybe left foot, left shoelaces, shoestrings, knee, whatever it is for you that works. Maybe it's pointing your glove at the target, ripping it down, whatever that might be for you. Think about taking something on the left side of your body towards your target at all times, and always follow your throw. Always follow your throw. That's a big thing. And I know it's a very basic tool, but it's something that goes undervalued, because a lot of times we want to Rico Suave it and just sling the ball, and the next thing you know, we don't follow our throw and it goes flying off, and we lose a little extra velo and a little extra carry on our baseball, which can result in a couple miles per hour, or can result in an out versus safe, which can win a game or lose a game. So let's get into tags real quick as we end this, because I think tags are important, and I think it's undercoached. It's really, really undercoached. For me, and I'm interested to see what you guys do for tags, I think tagging the front of the base, not trying to tag the runner. Like a lot of us try and tag the runner, which means that we're always searching for that runner. But if you think about this being the base, like I'm tagging in the front of the base to make sure that if he slides into the bag, his foot's going to hit my glove. That's the basic procedure for our tags. Other than that, like if we're trying to go chase the runner, that's how the runner gets his foot or his hand under our glove, which results in a safe versus out call. So tagging the front of the base, you think of it like Javi Baez tags, and I'm going to look it up while you guys talk, but there's something about Javi Baez where he tags the front of the base, and he's so quick with his tag. Sometimes we get really slow with our tags, but the key to tagging somebody on a steal or on a back pick is being quick with that tag. Just like we're going to the glove, like get the ball to your glove, quick and easy and smooth and seamless. Same thing with our tags, making sure that we're tagging the base so we're able to maneuver the glove if we have to, depending on where that runner is at. What do you guys got on that aspect as far as your tags go?
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Ronnie.
Something that's really, really helpful with this is, like I said before, the ball's going to move faster than anything on the field. So if you're taking a throw at second base, right, if you want that to be as quick as possible, try and catch the ball as close as you can to second base so you go straight down with the tag, right? If you go out and get it and have to bring your arm back and slap it down, it's going to take a lot more time than letting the ball travel, right? So the reason Javi Baez is so quick is because when he catches it, he just goes straight down. He's not going out to get it, bringing it back, right? So that's something that'll help you guys out. Let the ball travel as deep as you possibly can so we slap straight down. It makes it a lot easier.
I got a question for you, Jake.
Yeah.
What do you guys do with, like, for us, we were taught get in, get out, right? So it's catch deep, tag, get the heck out of there. I know now there's so many rules on sliding. So, like, whenever I was growing up, like, it was literally like we're taking dudes out. Like, go after, like, you're going after somebody, get that baseball out of their mitt. It's not really like that anymore. But for you guys, do you teach that? Because I know for me, it's like Nicholas said, catch it deep, tag straight down. And for me, as soon as I make that tag, I'm out of there because I don't want to get hurt. You guys talk to your guys about that too?
Yeah, so we teach 3 different tags, and same footwork for all tags. So I'll do footwork first and then go through the tag types. But I have my video. I know it looks like you're looking at my ground, but you are. This is a lovely pair of jeans, which is going to be our base for now, which is awesome. When we work a tag, I see a lot of coaches that position their players to straddle the bag on this and then work straight down. Now, I 100% agree that the ball travels faster and we should get to a straddle. But I think if you're going to be a really good infielder, one thing that you have to work is we have to start in front. And the reason I say that, when you look at feet starting in front, if a throw is up the line, I'm not in the baseline. Or if a throw pulls me back, not in the baseline. If I have to jump for a throw, I'm not in it. As soon as I'm straddled, now I'm going to get taken out, or it's a lot harder to manipulate this bag and try to move past it when I'm going to hit the corners of that. So the footwork we teach is we get in front of the bag, we see release of the throw. If it's a good throw or a long hop, we work into a straddle to drop tag. The only thing we stay in front on is a short hop or an errant throw side to side that we have to catch. So we don't want to actually tag from here, but allowing yourself to manipulate the bag of just that one shuffle over it mid ball flight, I think is really, really important for you guys to be really good taggers, and to be in a position to not get taken out by a throw. And it's really not a hard movement. It's just not practiced very much. So that's kind of how we teach the tags. As far as the tags that we teach, the 3 that we teach are this. First one, if they're going to be out, like as we're receiving that ball, we know the player is out. We drop straight down and show, and we're out of there. Exactly what Ronnie talked about. We're done with it. Okay. Make sure we touch, make sure we show, we're out. The second one is our total bluff. So if we know that runner's safe, but sometimes you have a 1-man crew or a 2-man crew and they're not in a great position, that's where we swipe and show. So we just straight swipe it. We know they're safe, but we're going to swipe it and create movement on the tag, show the ball to the umpire, or if it's the 3rd out of the inning, give a little point to our catcher and flip it back towards the mound. Because a lot of times you can buy yourself a call by just swiping that way. Yep. And then the 3rd one, and this is the only one that we really hold, is anytime that they're trying to hook slide, so they're not going directly into the base, they're going around it, we tag and push. Now you can't push, right? You're going to get in trouble for that. They're going to notice that. But you can apply some pressure on that tag to hopefully just a little bit force them to slide past the bag or off of it. So we push and hold, hoping that we can get them to release the bag so we still have the tag on them and then they're out. So those are the 3 that we teach. And we use buckets as people laying there. We'll have actual infielders lay down during infield sessions as the person that you're tagging and work through them. But the ideal would be slap it down, stay straddled, slap the tag down, show it, and get out would be the big one that we want.
I love it. I love it, Jake. I think it's good to have like multiple in the bank, but here's one of Javi Baez talking about some of the tags that you guys are talking about there, just to give you a visual, and Kevin Millard taking us through a little quick drill that we can do at home.
Give me one drill though for the kids at home, a good infield drill that you kind of do daily to kind of keep your stuff going. Legs, obviously. When I take my ground balls, my early work, I don't stop moving. I take the ground balls, throw to wherever face, and keep my legs moving. And on the tags, just for me, it's just to get early to the bag, because I'm always expecting a bad throw to this side. So if you're early to the bag, you can move around and get out of his lane, and obviously don't get hurt. All right, first bad little high throw, boom. Yeah, depends on where's the ball. If I go up, I just forget about my feet and just try laying on my knees. So I go faster down. That's one thing that when you go up, you have to get on your feet and then go down. And when I jump, I just try to land with my knees and my hand at the same time, soft, and this hand is gonna be loose all the time. Aha. So you go on high throw, do a high tag, boom. Boom. We got a good throw now. Boom. We got one over here. Boom. And we got one in the runner. Bam. All right, he's got.
Notice how he takes his eyes to the baseball every single throw. his eyes follow the baseball and everything we do. No matter what position we play, our eyes are always following the baseball. And that's the thing I love about that is like, look, he's in a great position to tag. He's very athletic. He's very blessed with physical ability. But guess what? He does the fundamentals very, very well. Tags the front of the base. Boom. Quick to it. Make sure we get there. We tag him down. So you can practice that at home right there. Just think about putting your foot into a pair of jeans or into your sweats or up against your bed and just smacking tags. Boom, boom, boom. Even getting up against a wall and throwing a tennis ball up against the wall and tagging. Bare hand or glove hand. Doesn't matter. You can go bare hand or glove hand right up against the wall. Boom, boom. Just getting that good motion. The common thing I see with tags is we're really slow and we're hesitant to tag the runner out. Let's get that thing down, get that thing ready to go to where we're able to get those easy outs, because they're giving us an out, and especially if we can make up for it. And you guys know as middle infielders, like you're able to get those tags. That's a big part of the game. So I just wanted to show that video real quick, just because he's the best in the league at tagging. He's incredible. So
Yes.
no, this was good. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add, but I know for us, Adam's got I just threw it in the chat. He has the link. If you want to go get those Dugout Coalition shirts, it is right there. That link is right there. So you can feel free to go hop on there, grab one of those if you guys are interested in it. Feel free. Let us know how you like it. And then if you guys have anything else to add, feel free.
The only thing that I want to add, because we didn't really get to double plays, which is fine. I think this was really good for a lot of you guys. But in general, when we're talking double plays, if you're the second baseman receiving it, the big key, and we could go through footwork for another hour, but the big key is your left foot should be on that back corner of the bag, because we want to make sure we can get to any bad throw that might pull us towards the outfield. So we want all the space that we can on that side. Whether you're working through the bag, pushing off, there's a bunch of different ways you can work footwork, and a lot of that's based on throw. But I would say that's a big thing there. Make sure you're communicating as middles if you're going to flip or throw the ball, because that's going to change their ability to receive it and how they're coming through the bag. And then the third one for first baseman and for middles, never cross the runner on a throw. Meaning if you're a first baseman that's holding the guy on and you field that ball in front of that bag, turning two, that throw should stay on the inside lane. Okay. And the middle needs to manipulate his footwork to stay there. We don't want to throw that from the inside lane back across the face of the runner to the outside lane. Same thing if you're deep, that throw needs to stay outside lane. As soon as you cross a runner, vision gets hard, and there's the ability to hit that runner, to have an errant throw, and then people are running all over the place. So if you guys have other infield questions, please message us, DM us, pop on the BAMFam Instagram. We have a lot of videos there, but message about anything. I could talk infield for days, y'all. This is my favorite thing to discuss. So please reach out if you have anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great job, fellas. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Remember, Full Uni Friday. Full Uni Friday.
Yes!
I'm guaranteeing a win tomorrow. I'm guaranteeing.
Let's go.
Yes, let me guess. The jersey I bought you.
To the dub.
Let me guess the jersey I bought you. You got to stop buying him stuff.